Hey, what is going on? Of course, to all of my alternative book snobs, I am Amira Blaze, and welcome back, guys, to another episode of Book Shade. See here, guys, we got a new look and everything, so, I'm all about upgrading and not downgrading. Now, I know my appearance looks like a downgrade today, but guys, I just needed a day just to unwind and relax and not have all this makeup all caked up on my face. So, you know how it goes sometimes, guys. But for today's episode of Book Shade, we're going to be doing another vampire romance reading vlog where I take rules from a certain readathon and apply it to my TBR, but specifically right now I'm focusing on within my TBR. I'm focusing on finishing my vampire romance books because that's like the majority of books that I have in my book collection. So for those of you who are maybe new to BookTube, TBR stands for to be read. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, guys. I was able to get the audiobook of Vampire Kisses, which is the first book in the series called Vampire Kisses by Schreiber. And guys, let me tell you, I am greatly enjoying this book series. It's absolutely fantastic. So there it is. But okay, so this is the premise, guys, so far for Vampire Kisses, okay? So you have this protagonist. Her name is Raven, okay? And Raven lives in a town that she calls Dullsville because it's absolutely boring. There's just nothing really cool going on. And Raven is gothic. That's like her style and everything. So she's always wanted to feel like she belongs, but she doesn't feel like it. Even one of her instructors asked her, like, hey Raven, what do you want to do, after you're done with your education? And she replies with, I want to be a vampire. Guys, this book has some of the best humor. Like, it's great. Like, from start to finish. I would say from start to about the finish. This book is consistent through and through. Raven is such a relatable character, like so relatable, absolutely hilarious. And she has some really unique friends and antagonists as well. She has a friend named Becky, and Becky is such a worried person. Like, she worries about Raven, she worries about herself. She doesn't have a lot of guts as Raven does, but she's a great friend because she accepts Raven for being who she is, and just accepts her aesthetic, which can be tough because she really stands out in the school that she attends. So she has her friend Becky, but then she also has to deal with Trevor, and she and Trevor really don't get along at all. Trevor is an asshole. Like, the epitome definition of an asshole, that is Trevor. Like, he's always finding ways to make her life miserable until, guys, one day she ends up seeing that there's this house that used to be owned by a Romanian duchess that passed away not too long ago. And for some reason, these people move in, but they're not ordinary people. Come to find out that they're actually vampires, but we're at the part in the book right now where that hasn't been revealed yet. I think Raven knows that. She meets this guy that she calls Gothic Guy, which is hilarious. I love the nicknames she has for the people that she encounters throughout her life. It's absolutely hilarious. Like, for example, she calls calls her brother, whose name is Billy, instead of calling him Billy, she calls him Nerd Boy because he's a gamer and everything, which is it's ridiculous, but really funny too. So she encounters this gothic guy, and then eventually she finds out that his name is Alexander, and it seems that Alexander has been checking her out when she came to their place the first time during Halloween, and he could tell that Raven was not like any other, young lady that he's, encountered, because she's just herself and she loves the night and, the gothic look and all of that. So right now, guys, I'm about an hour 30 into the last part. So I'm going to be reacting to chapter 17 through 22. Let's do this, guys. This is my reading vlog with a reading sprint in there. Just wanted to do something different. So it is time. Let me bring it up here. Reading sprint countdown. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I am going to read and react in 20-minute increments, because I noticed that I've been reading, guys, a lot faster by having the audio book as well as the physical copy of the book. I'm getting a lot faster with reading. But guys, I highly recommend that you should listen to this book as an audio book. It's a little more entertaining, definitely, because the narrator, her name is Devon Sorvari. She is amazing, guys. She really brings the characters to life, and you can she really makes Raven like relatable too. So that's why I think this has been an enjoyable read for me, is for that very reason. So also too, guys, I'm continuing in the Black Dagger Brotherhood. Finally, guys, I was able to get the audiobook for Lover Awaken. So this is the, I have it here actually. This is the third book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and I'm excited because this is the romance of Zadis. So I'm really excited because Zadis is a very interesting character. So okay, so my personal favorites, I have to say, I do like Rage. I love Vicious and Z. That's about it. I used to like Raph, but like Raph is kind of annoying as I'm reading these books. Like he's just getting more and more assholey for me, a little bit too much. So I had to cancel him. Okay. But that will be the next book that we'll be reading coincide, because I try to read 2 to 3 books throughout the month, and I've noticed I've picked book series that are really massive, because there are multiple books in Black Dagger Brotherhood, including there's a new book I believe that's going to be coming out pretty soon, so I'll have to get that as well. But so far the books are not too bad. The first book, I did not really care for it, but the second book redeemed the first book, so I did appreciate that one because Rage is a very interesting character. But all right, guys, I could talk about Black Dagger Brotherhood all day long, but let's get into finishing up chapters 17 through 22 of Vampire Kisses by Ellen Schreiber. All right, guys, so let's get started here. I'll put 20 minutes, and then I will kind of give my reaction once the 20 minutes are up here. So let's go ahead and starting now. All right. Okay, so things are really getting interesting. Okay, so this is what happened so far. Okay, so we learned that Alexander, his grandma, was actually the Romanian countess that lived in the home, so prior to them moving, and it did take them some time before for them to move into the home. So that was cool to find out. Also, what ends up happening is he invites her over to have like a movie night, of course, and then they finally kiss, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I was looking so excited. And for some reason, his like vampire urges start to like come to life, and he ends up like biting her, and then she like passes out. But luckily it wasn't like, it was just like a scrape against her neck. So she's thinking like, oh my gosh, that's why I was laughing the whole time. So she goes to Becky, and she's like, oh my gosh, I think I'm turning into a vampire. And like she gets Becky to get her like all the very stereotypical vampire tropes, like garlic and being afraid of like the cross and like all this stuff, and it didn't work. But I think Raven came, and that's the part that I'm at right now, is that Raven came to this actualization that she's like, you know, maybe I don't want to turn into a vampire. Like maybe I'm just, you know, comfortable with being who I am, and that, you know, maybe turning into a vampire would be the opposite, you know, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy the things that I want to enjoy. So that's where we're at. So far so good. This book series, I really underestimated it. I thought it was going to be bad. Like I really thought it was not going to be good. And the only reason why, and maybe this is me being like supremely biased, but this book series is what is called mature YA. That's what I would categorize it as. For those of you who are not familiar with what YA stands for young adult. I'll have to do like a separate episode kind of giving you guys more details on what YA is. It's very popular on BookTube for sure. But what started to happen is a lot more adults started to read YA. It's actually the most popular genre within the BookTube community, actually, besides romance, and historical fiction is starting to kind of get up there. But I'll do a separate episode talking about that in the future as well. But oh my gosh, guys, we're getting to the good part, and we're almost done. We have like an hour left, so I think from this point things are gonna really accelerate and get really good. But yeah, I do feel that this is a mature YA series, and it's just because of the way that the characters are portrayed, because there is a difference between regular YA books and mature YA, and usually I don't read YA at all unless it's like, to me it's more mature, and it would be something that adults can read. But this one, yeah, I highly I love the book so far. It's really good. All right, so we're gonna continue our next round of our reading sprint here. And all right, so actually, you know what I'm gonna do before we start? I am going to get my book stand here. So I'll be right back here, guys. All right. Oh, I love having a book stand, guys. I would highly suggest getting one because it just makes reading much more convenient. Because I felt like, like my neck, it was like hurting me a little bit. I felt like I was hunched over. All right, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna start our second round here of doing a reading sprint. So, all right, let's do this, and it starts now. Ooh, guys, things are getting so good. Okay, so, oh my gosh, guys, so much went on. And of course, we have Skank, and Skank is saying that, pretty much saying that I'm fat, and that's okay, okay? Different strokes for different folks, okay? Not everybody is meant to be a supermodel, you know? So I'm just ignoring you now because you just mad disrespectful. Not to be rude, but that's just mad disrespectful. I'm so sick and tired of people coming to my program and saying that I'm fat and ugly when it's just like, you know what? I'm cool with who I am. I'm not meant to be a supermodel. I'm not meant to look like, you know, all these other ladies that do this. And no offense to them, but it's like not everybody's going to look like some hot supermodel for and it's not all men that do this. Okay, because true gentlemen will accept a woman, you know, or just whatever you're into. You just accept people for who they are. Like, that's such an asshole thing to say. So I'm just ignoring you. Like, fuck you guys. But anyway, I digress. So, oh my gosh, guys, like, there is so... And I'm not saying fuck you to everybody, but it's just specifically to the assholes that come to my program that just want to put down bigger women like me. Just because I'm plus size, that doesn't mean that I don't take care of myself. I work out 5 days a week. I, you know, eat healthy, and I'm doing everything that I can to take care of myself. And that is such an asshole thing to say, because if it was in reverse, if I was, you know, doing my show and I was criticizing men, you know, for the guys that are fat, or if I'm you know, which I would never do, okay, because I accept people for being who they are. But if I was that type of person, you guys would get mad. You guys would be telling me, oh, why are you making fun of men like that? Or, you know, why are you making fun of people like that? Like, this has to stop now. Okay, so I'm done dealing with you guys, and I'm ignoring you from this point forward. You're done. So moving on from that, guys, a lot has happened. Oh my gosh, it went down, guys. So we finally have the date that Raven has been waiting for, and Alexander, being the gentleman that he is, unlike some of you guys saying the nasty stuff you're saying to me right now, actually, you know, got his really nice car and everything, and came to meet Raven's parents. And she's just like, you know, typical, like, you know, first date going to the dance kind of thing. And she's just like, okay, like, mom and dad, please do not embarrass me. Like, please be really cool or whatever. And like, her mom was like mega judging Alexander, being like, oh, isn't he that weird, like, vampire guy? And, you know, like, yeah, I'm done with you guys. I'm sorry. Like, you're done. It's so fucking rude. Really fucking rude. It's not funny. That's the thing. No disrespect, and I don't, you know, I'm not a person that gets upset, but like, when you start pointing out my size, I have a problem with that, you know? And I am a classy woman, and I carry myself with dignity and class. I don't have time for you guys bullshit. Like, it's nasty. It really is nasty, and it's unnecessary. Like, it's nasty. Like, grow the fuck up. Like, that's so disgusting. You know? I don't really give a crap what you guys have to say. Period. So, you're being ignored. So, to continue here, guys. So then, you know, the meeting with the parents and everything went pretty well. And she wore this very nice outfit, you know, very in your face kind of outfit. And I love it because it's like typical dad behavior, you know, of course. And she's like, okay, don't I look good? And he's just like, you're not wearing that to the dance. Like, fuck that shit. And that's what was making me laugh, because it's typical dad. Like, you know, if you are, you know, the daughter and you're dressing in a way that, you know, is even the style, it looks good or whatever, dads are always gonna be like, please cover that up. You could be wearing a sweater and some dads would be like, please cover that up. Like, please cover that up, you know? So yeah, that was hilarious to me. So that's why I was laughing for that very reason. So then we get to the dance, and Becky forgot to tell Raven a very important detail, and that is Becky actually was Trevor's date to this dance that they went to. And then all the tea got spilled, y'all. Okay, first off, Trevor reveals that, oh, the only reason why, like, Raven went to the mansion was she was trying to find out if they were vampires or not. But she didn't do it. See, in Alexander's eyes, he feels betrayed. And he feels that the reason why... like, the only reason why they started hanging out was because of that. So he feels betrayed right now. So that's why I feel really bad for him. So all right, let's continue, guys, and let me find out what happens. So we got another 20 minutes, and yeah, this is going to be good. I'm so excited, very, very excited. All right, so here we go, guys. 20 minutes starting now. Oh my gosh, guys, this is so good. Okay, so so the reason why I was laughing during this reading sprint was because I was so sad for Raven, because like Alexander really canceled her, like really canceled her. Like anytime she would call, so sorry for the yawning, guys. Whew, it's been a long day, but I digress. So anytime she would call, the butler would pick up and be like, yeah, just give him some time, you know. Then all of a sudden, Becky like is at her front door and is like, Raven, you gotta come with me. And she's like, whatever, you like fuck this shit up, you know, like some friend you are. And she's like, no, seriously, bitch, like we need to go. And then they get to the mansion and she was scared because she was thinking that there was going to be this mob there with, you know, pitchforks and, you know, and torches and stuff. Guys, it was the complete opposite. Everybody in the town decided to throw a welcoming to the neighborhood party, but gothic style. And guess who was the catalyst who set all this up? Her own parents. That was the gag of the century, guys. Oh my gosh. Plot twist, plot twist. So now I'm to the part now where it's kind of like towards the end here. We got like 18 more minutes in this audiobook to go, but I'm gonna take a stretch break because I've been doing this now for an hour, and then we're gonna get back, guys, and we're gonna wrap it up and give my final commentary on the first book here, which is Vampire Kisses by Ellen Schreiber. This is an excellent book series, and even if you're not, guys, into YA, because you guys know I am, you know, team paranormal romance, team historical fiction. I am going to be reviewing webtoons, guys, really soon, but it's just I haven't found one that's really like piqued my interest yet. But if you guys have any recommendations for really good webtoons, like let me know. But oh my gosh, guys, like I am so sorry for yawning, guys, but man, I have had a day. But guys, even if you're not into YA, this book series is poppin'. Like, it's actual mature YA, and yeah, some parts of it can be superficial, but it's really well written and it's very comedic too, which I enjoy. So I highly recommend like this first book. But all right, let me go to the bathroom, take a stretch break here, and then we're gonna wrap it up, guys. All right, guys, thank you for your patience here. Oh my gosh, like, I really needed to stretch. I was so invested in the story here, but we're almost done. How exciting. Okay, so we're gonna start again here. This is gonna be the last part of the reading sprint here, and it starts now. Let's do this, guys. All right, give me 1 second here, guys. I'm gonna start it over here. Forgot to put my headphones on, so my headphones, there we go. Be right back, guys. All right, here we go. All right, so it starts. Final 20 minutes here starts now. And of course, here we have Brick. What's up? And Brick says, "Hey, Shade. Hey, welcome, of course, to the program here. I'm doing what's, in case you guys are not familiar with this, I'm doing something that's called a reading sprint. So you're trying to read as much as you can. No, you're fine, Brick. You're totally fine. You are absolutely fine. So what I've been doing is I'm just like reading as fast as I can, and I try to see how much I can read. And since you are, of course, I believe new, a little bit more about my program here. What I do is I specialize in the following. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, now I remember. Sorry, guys. It's been a while. But Brick says, cool. It's good to catch your stream again. Sprint reading, cool. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, awesome. But yeah, so I read a lot of like vampire books, specifically vampire romance, because I'm a hopeless romantic. I also read historical fiction, and I also read webtoons, which are comics coming from South Korea, and they're very interesting, actually. But I haven't found one that's really like, oh, this is so good. So I'm kind of still like trying to find a good webtoon, but I'll be reviewing those very, very soon. All right, guys, so I'm gonna continue the reading sprint here, and we're almost done, and then we'll talk. Oh my gosh. Okay, then we'll talk. Okay, just a couple minutes here and all of that. All right, cool. Okay. Thanks so much, Brick, for checking out the program. Really, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. But you know what? You gotta, do work and stuff. That's very important, okay? Especially right now in this motherfucking pandemic, okay? So go make that money, honey, okay? Oh, you're a fan. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. But, I feel it's important, guys, to I want to give a better narrative to the horror literature genre because I think it's really greatly misunderstood. A lot of times when people think of horror, it's always like super like gory and stuff, which is fine, but like there's so many different elements to horror and it can be very complex, not as simplistic as it gets like stereotypically labeled and all that. But oh my gosh, guys, this is getting good. So I'm almost done. All right, let's wrap this up. Guys, this was so good. Okay, so this is what happened. So at the party, the butler tells Raven, like, Alexander wants to talk with you. That's like how he actually sounds like in the audiobook, which is awesome. So she's like, cool, and then they finally made up. And he pretty much was like messing with her mind because she still thinks that he's a vampire. And he's like, hey, I want you to come check out my room. And she's thinking like, oh, this shit was so funny. She's thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna see like a coffin bed. Oh, this is gonna be great. And he opens the door and it's just a regular looking room, has some of his art. He's actually a really good artist. And so there's like pictures of like the artwork, and then she comes across one that has a sheet over it, and then she takes the sheet off and it was actually a painting of her with like vampire teeth and like holding a Snickers bar because and that's I love how she was able to tie that back in because that was the first time that they and that she kind of interacted with them in a way was because Trevor was technically harassing them, and she went to kind of stand up for him. And that was like that first time she encountered the man. So the whole time, guys, he was observing Raven and knew, what kind of person that she was. And they fall back in love with each other. He kisses her. So that's why I was like, oh, it was great. So then after the party's over, they're cleaning up and she says bye to Becky. Then the next day, they're driving back or whatever. And come to find out, guys, that Becky has a crush on Matt because Matt is a cool guy, so I don't blame her for like wanting to get with that. Get your life, Becky, okay? But I digress. So then the next day she goes to the cemetery because that seems to be Alexander's favorite place to hang out, for both of them to hang out. And she noticed that the mansion is empty, guys. There's no more furniture. The piles of dirt that came from Romania is not there. And then she takes out the brick that got her into the mansion and a letter falls out. And all that was on the letter says, because I love you. And that was it. No explanation. So they disappeared. And then, she's crying. Raven is really upset. And then the conclusion is that she sees a bat and she thinks that bat is Alexander, but the bat flies away. Oh my gosh, the cliffhanger of the century. Oh my gosh. This book, guys, let me tell you, from start to finish, let's do a little like recap here. What do I think about book 1 here, Vampire Kisses by Ellen Schreiber? This is an excellent book series, guys. Now, yeah, it is more mature YA, so you're definitely going to be, dealing with some of the YA tropes. But here's the difference though, guys, is that it's executed well. Like, Raven is a buildable character. Now, I will say one of the problems with this book series, though, is that not all of the other minor characters are really like fully fleshed out. They're kind of fleshed out, in my opinion, like bits and pieces. But Raven, since she's the central point, and Alexander, and like the butler and stuff, those characters are really kind of the butler a little bit here and there is not that fleshed out, but yeah, this book, guys, is great. I highly recommend it, especially if you're into vampire literature and you just want to have like a more humorous, more campy kind of take on it. It's really great. Like Dullsville, the town of Dullsville, it's wonderful. And Raven, like I said, as a character, she is so relatable. Like, I think any of us had a time in our life where we feel misunderstood and we feel like we just can't fit in because we're different. This is why I love this book series, guys, is because I could relate to that. I seriously could relate to that because, I dress different, I sound different, so I didn't really make a lot of friends, which is sad. But because I was different, like, people just never really wanted to give me a chance, which kind of sucks. So I can relate to Raven feeling isolated. And I mean, I could also relate to her hobbies and interests. I love vampire movies. I love reading vampire books and things like that. But when you're into these things, people automatically think you're strange or weird or whatever. And it's not a fair assumption. But yeah, this is a great book series, guys. I highly recommend you pick it up. This is the beginning, so it's a compilation of the first 3 books, but you can also buy them separately. But yeah, it's a pretty quick read. I mean, some of the chapters were a little bit longer. It's got some action in there. But I mean, once again, guys, this is a mature YA book, so this is what I like to call the prudish warning. There are some parts of this book that I would say are strong in the content, but if you kind of overlook that, this book series is excellent. And what I mean strong is just the way that Raven behaves sometimes is kind of ridiculous. But overall, guys, this is a great book series. This book is great. So I'm liking, well, I can't make that judgment yet, but the first book in this series is great. Like, and they're very inexpensive, guys. Like, they don't really cost that much to buy. I think I got this book for like $7-8 or whatnot. But yeah, guys, if you're looking for a more campy, humorous take on the classic vampire tropes and stuff, you will love Vampire Kisses by Ellen Schreiber. Really good job, Ellen. Really hilarious. Now, many of the Ellen Schreiber, the Vampire Kisses fans, they have wanted to have a follow-up to this book series, but it hasn't happened. So here is my plea. Ellen Schreiber, I would love, probably not gonna watch this, but I would love if you would create a second part to this series. Because it's phenomenal. It's really, really well written, and I can see it has a little bit of a following, but it's not as popular of a book series like it used to be, like way back when, which is really sad. But that is the nature, guys, of YA. YA is just one of those book genres where it's just excuse me, it's just one of those genres where there's a lot of burnout quickly. You know, right now it's, you know, Sarah J Maas and, you know, a couple other authors are really popular in YA, but then eventually, you know, Sarah J Maas will be replaced with someone else who's popular. So that's the only downside I don't like with YA, is that sometimes there's so many of these repetitive tropes that you can feel burned out and you feel like you're reading the same story over and over. But what really sets her books apart is she has this very interpersonal humor to it. And you can really tell she studied vampire pop culture, because she has all the tropes in there. You know, like the gothic fashion, you know, the look of Raven, the way that she acts, you know, like, and stuff like that. But yeah, she really did a good job, guys, with the research. The only con, I would say, or negative part of this book series is Trevor is annoying. No, he really is. He's such a fucking asshole. And then but the other con, I would say, so sorry guys for yawning. Woo! But the other con for this book series, or this book particularly, Vampire Kisses, is that the focus is on Raven and Alexander, but like I said earlier, I just wish there was a little more character development. Like, where her mom and dad are really interesting people, for example. I would have, like, guys, how sweet that would be to have like a spin-off book about like how her parents met or something like that. That would be really cool. The other downside too is there's just some characters I want to know more about, like her friend Becky. Like, I would like to learn more about her. So I think Ellen Schreiber, in my opinion, should do a spin-off series, or do something that's kind of similar to like the like Vampire Diaries, for example, where they did like Stefan's Diaries, which is like a spin-off from, you know, Vampire Diaries storyline, but in the perspective of like some of the origin stuff of Stefan. I think that would be really cool to add something like that to this series. But yeah, this book, Vampire Kisses, guys, it's got my rating of masterpiece. It is everything. It's really good, so I highly recommend it. All right, guys, so that's gonna be today's episode. Coming up tomorrow, bitches, let me tell ya, we're gonna get started on me reacting to this book right here, which is called Lover Awaken by J.R. Ward. This is the third book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood, so we're gonna start reacting to that. Now, I said I wouldn't react like this, but you guys really have been enjoying these, so I'm gonna continue doing them for sure. All right, guys, so you can keep in touch with me the following ways. I am on Twitter as well as Instagram, which is at bookshade1. And I also, guys, if you want to, you know, keep in touch with me as well, I also have a email now for the show. So if you have any like book recommendations, stuff like that, that's the other way you can keep in touch with me. It's just book, which is BOOK, then there's shade, SHADE, news at gmail.com. So bookshadenews at gmail.com. That's the best way to also get in touch with me as well, if you want to say hello, all that good shit. Okay, so that's gonna be it, guys. So like I always say, I have a new saying now: reading is Halloween. All right, guys, thanks so much again. Until tomorrow, take care, guys.